cometh all wisdom. Look down and bless us as the duty and the duties we are about to perform. May these grand officers, who are at this time to be invested with the authority to govern this grand court, be impressed by the importance of the trust confided to them. Endow them with wisdom, that they may rightly discharge every duty, with love, that they may exemplify the beauty of concord in all their doings, the fidelity, that they may not fail in the performance of any obligation, with fortitude, that they may fearlessly face every object and conquer every difficulty, and grant that peace and harmony may prevail. Bless our order throughout the land, and direct us in the ways of truth, faith, wisdom, and charity. And may all be done in thy holy name. Amen.
Amen. Honor Lady Grand Marshal, and present the Grand Officers at the altar to receive the obligation.
Grand Old Patron, the officers are in position to receive the obligation.
Honor ladies and sir knights. You will place your right hand over your heart. Raise your left hand. Say aye. Aye. Pronounce your name in full.
Joseph H. Cross.
And repeat after me. Do solemnly promise.
Do solemnly promise.
In the presence of Almighty God.
In the presence of Almighty God.
And this grand court order of the Amaranth.
And this grand court order of the Amaranth.
That I will.
That I will.
To the best of my ability.
To the best of my ability.
Faithfully and impartially perform.
Faithfully and impartially perform.
All the duties incumbent on the office.
All the duties incumbent on the office.
To which I have been selected.
To which I have been selected.
That I will conform to.
That I will conform to.
And abide by.
And abide by.
The Constitution of the Supreme Council.
The Constitution of the Supreme Council.
The bylaws of this grand court.
The bylaws of this grand court.
And in every way.
And in every way.
Within my power.
Within my power.
Assist in extending.
Assist in extending.
The usefulness of our order.
The usefulness of our order.
Marshal, present the Grand Royal Matron-elect.
Grand Royal Patron, I present to you Honored Lady Christine Louise Collins Cross, who has been elected Grand Royal Matron of California, Order of the Amaranth.
Grand Royal Matron, we most cordially congratulate you upon your election to this, the most distinguished and important office within the gift of your associates. The confidence displayed by this Grand Court in elevating you to supreme command is ample guarantee to this order throughout the jurisdiction of your wisdom and your worth. You cannot be otherwise than aware of the deep and solemn responsibilities of the duties you are about to assume, or the many cares and perplexities which surround its exalted honors. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, escort the Grand Royal Matron to her station on the throne. Grand Royal Matron, I confide to your charge the charter of this Grand Court, which you are charged to protect. The value of this instrument is such that a session of this Grand Court cannot be recognized as legal if the charter is not present. You will carefully preserve it, and when your term of office expires, you will transmit it to your successor in office. The Constitution of the Supreme Council and the bylaws of this Grand Court are also placed in your keeping, which you are to study as a guardian. I now have the pleasure of presenting to you the gavel. Emblem of your authority, which in your hands should never be sounded in vain. When sounded, the members of this Grand Court will yield willing obedience to its command. I welcome you to the throne of the Grand Court of California, Order of the Amaranth, and render to you the first act of homage due you as Grand Royal Matron. Grand Royal Matron, behold your honored ladies and Sir Knights. Honored ladies and Sir Knights, behold your Grand Royal Matron. Salute her with the public sign of salutation.
Thank you.
Honored Lady Grand Marshal, present the Grand Royal Patron-elect.
Grand Royal Patron, I present to you Sir Knight Norm Perkins, who has been elected Grand Royal Patron.
Sir Knight Norm, thank you. The office to which you have been elected is one of high dignity and importance. You are the constitutional advisor of the Grand Royal Matron, and as such, you are to counsel and assist her in every way in your power to promote the peace, harmony, and welfare of our order and the Grand Court. You are to preside during the election and installation of Grand Officers, and at all other times as the Grand Royal Matron may desire. In the absence of the Grand Royal Matron and the Grand Associate Matron from the sessions of the Grand Court, you are, by the bylaws, vested with the power to call the Grand Court to order and appoint some past Grand Royal Matron. Preference must be given to the junior past Grand Royal Matron to act as Grand Royal Matron pro tem. Honor Lady Grand Marshal, escort the Grand Royal Patron to his station on the throne at the left of the Grand Royal Matron. Honored ladies and sir knights, you will with me salute the Grand Royal Patron with the public sign of salutation.
Thank you very much.
Honored Lady Grand Marshal, present the Grand Associate Matron-elect and Grand Associate Patron-elect.
Grand Royal Patron, I present Honored Lady Judy Payne and Sir Knight Joe Tabrisky, who have been elected Grand Associate Matron and Grand Associate Patron.
Honored Lady Judy, by choice of the members of this Grand Court, you have been elected Grand Associate Matron. Be faithful in the performance of your duties so that you will truly be a strength and support to the Grand Royal Matron. In the absence of your superior officer, you shall assume command when authorized to do so. Sir Knight Joe, your associates have shown their confidence in your fidelity by electing you to the responsible position of Grand Associate Patron. Your previous devotion to the duties of the order is sufficient guarantee that you will be a vigilant officer in whatever station you may be placed. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, escort the Grand Associate Matron and Grand Associate Patron to their stations in the west. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, present the Grand Treasurer-elect and Grand Secretary-elect.
Grand Royal Patron, I present Honored Lady Cheryl LeVar and Honored Lady Judy Harrison, who have been elected Grand Treasurer and Grand Secretary.
Honored Lady Cheryl, you have been elected to the responsible office of Grand Treasurer. Your integrity satisfies us that the trust is wisely composed. It is your duty to receive all monies from the Grand Secretary and pay them out on the order of the Grand Court and the Grand Royal Matron, rendering an account of the same. Your duties are clearly defined in the bylaws. Be faithful in the performance of your trust. Honored Lady Judy, you have been chosen to fill the important office of Grand Secretary. In your official position, it is requisite that you should possess ability, skill, and courtesy to meet the various demands upon you. It is your duty to record the proceedings of the Grand Court, to receive all monies and keep a just and true account of the same, to keep and affix the seal of the Grand Court to all proper documents, and carefully preserve its archives. Accuracy and punctuality are qualities which your office particularly requires. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, escort the Grand Treasurer and the Grand Secretary to their stations. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, present the Grand Conductress and Grand Associate Conductress elect.
Grand Royal Patron, I present Honored Lady Christine Blink and Honored Lady Cindy Tabrisky, who have been elected Grand Conductress and Grand Associate Conductress.
Honored Lady Christine, Grand Conductress, and Honored Lady Cindy, Grand Associate Conductress. You have been elected to positions of honor and distinction. Your duties require you to devote your attention to the condition of the Grand Court, see that everything is in readiness for the session, and to assist the Grand Marshal in the ceremonies of the order. Thus, your positions become of great value and importance. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, you will escort the Grand Conductress and Grand Associate Conductress to their stations. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, present the Grand Trustee elect.
Grand Royal Patron, I present to you Honored Lady Joji Saida, who has been elected to serve this Grand Court as Grand Trustee for 3 years.
Honored Lady Joji, you have been elected Grand Trustee of this Grand Court. The Grand Trustees are the custodians of its funds, paraphernalia, and property. The position is one of responsibility and trust. You are to see that the funds are carefully guarded, properly invested, and judiciously expended. You shall render an account to the Grand Court annually, or at such other time as it may direct. Be faithful in the performance of your duties. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, escort the Grand Trustee to her station. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, present the Grand Commissioners of Appeal elect.
Grand Royal Patron, I present Sir Knight Paul Wright, who has been elected Chief Grand Commissioner of Appeal, and Honored Lady Norma Varai and Honored Lady Pat Rose, who have been elected Grand Commissioner of Appeal 3 years.
Sir Knight Paul, Honored Lady Norma, Honored Lady Pat. It is the duty of the Grand Commissioner of Appeal to investigate, consider, and report to the Grand Royal Matron all matters or all appeals referred to you from courts or members of the order. An intimate knowledge of the Constitution, bylaws, and penal code is necessary to perform your duties properly. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, escort the Grand Commissioners of Appeal to their station. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, present the Grand Prelate.
Grand Royal Patron, I present Sir Knight Michael Padilla, who has been appointed Grand Prelate.
Sir Knight Michael, the sacred position of Grand Prelate has been entrusted to your care. In the performance of your duties, you will be required to lead the devotional exercises of the session of the Grand Court. Teach us from the inspired volume, which is the chart and textbook of our faith and practice. Intercede for us with that divine majesty, which it so freely reveals and inspires by its lessons of infinite wisdom and truth. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, escort the Grand Prelate to his station. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, present the Grand Marshal and the Grand Marshal in the East.
I present Honored Lady Donna Mae Roberson, who has been appointed Grand Marshal, and Honored Lady Annette Segura, who has been appointed Grand Marshal in East.
Honored Lady Donna Mae, you have been appointed Grand Marshal. The duties of your office require care, promptness, and activity. You are to announce the presence of the Grand and introduce the Grand Royal Matron and Grand Royal Patron when accompany the Grand Royal Matron on her official visits. Under her instructions, you will direct the movements of the Grand Officers when assembled. Skill and precision are essentially necessary to the faithful performance of your duties. Honored Lady Annette, Grand Marshal in the East. Your duty as Grand Marshal in the East is of special dignity and responsibility. You are required to escort the Grand Royal Matron when she leaves the throne, to lead all processions whenever required, and perform all other duties assigned to you in the ceremonies of the order. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, escort these officers to their stations. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, present the Grand Lecturer.
Grand Royal Patron, I present Sir Knight J.D. Hammond, who has been appointed Grand Lecturer.
Sir Knight Dad, you have been appointed the Grand Lecturer. It shall be your duty to instruct personally, or through your assistant Grand Lecturers, the proper performance of the ritualistic work of the order, to preserve our ritual from charge and innovations, and by your instruction to the members, illustrate and exemplify the principles of the order. Let it be your object to inculcate a faithful regard for its obligations upon our members. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, escort the Grand Lecturer to his station. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, present the Grand Standard Bearer.
Grand Royal Patron, I present Honored Lady Jennifer Holmquist, who has been appointed Grand Standard Bearer.
Honored Lady Jennifer, the office which has been assigned to you is a position of dignity and of great importance. You are required to lead processions, make proclamations, and on all occasions properly display the standard of our order. May the light and glory that emanate from our symbols animate every heart. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, escort the Grand Standard Bearer to her station. Lady Grand Marshal, present the Grand Historian and Grand Fraternal Correspondent.
Grand Royal Patron, I present Honored Lady Juan Preuss, who has been appointed Grand Historian, and Honored Lady Angela Pena, who has been appointed Grand Fraternal Correspondent.
Honored Lady Wanda, history is a record of the events of human transactions, the story of human life. The record should be carefully and truthfully kept, and nothing that will throw light on the transactions of the Grand Court should be omitted or slighted. Honored Lady Angela, you have been appointed Grand Fraternal Correspondent. It is your duty to correspond with the Grand Courts of various jurisdictions and subordinate courts under the Supreme Council jurisdiction, and report all items of interest relative to the progress of the order. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, escort the Grand Historian and Grand Fraternal Correspondent to their stations. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, present the honored ladies who have been appointed the Grand Officers of this court.
Grand Royal Patron, I present Honored Lady Susan Wallace, who has been appointed Grand Faith, Honored Lady Jeannie Willits, who has been appointed Grand Wisdom, and Honored Lady Pat Schilder, who has been appointed Grand Charity.
Honored ladies, you have been appointed respectively Grand Faith, Grand Wisdom, and Grand Charity. You are to assist the Grand Officers in the performance of their duties, and in every way aid in promoting the interests of the Grand Court. During the opening ceremonies, you will proclaim the sublime lessons of purity and faithfulness as exemplified in the subordinate courts. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, escort these honored ladies to their stations. Knight Grand Marshal, present the Grand Musician.
Grand Royal Patron.
I'll try it again. Grand Royal Patron. I present to you for installation, Honored Lady. C. Lindsay Cross, who has been appointed Grand Musician.
Honored Lady C. Lindsay. Music occupies an important place in the ritualistic work of our order. It is a language of delightful sensations, far more eloquent than words. Nothing beautifies the work or adds more to its impressiveness than the sweet strains of appropriate music. In the Grand Court, it will be your duty to direct the music during the opening at such other times as may be necessary during the sessions. Sir Knight Grand Marshal, escort the Grand Musician to her station. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, present the Grand Warder and Grand Sentinel.
Grand Royal Patron, I present Sir Knight David White, who has been appointed Grand Warder, and Sir Knight Bill Swank, who has been appointed Grand Sentinel.
Sir Knight David, you have been appointed Grand Warder. Your position is one of trust and responsibility. It is your duty to announce the approach of members and visitors, also to take up the password and grip from those entering, thereby protecting the Grand Court from intrusion by improper persons. Be cautious and vigilant in your duties. Sir Knight Bill, you have been appointed Grand Sentinel. Our order is of a secret character. Any irreparable injury might result from a neglected or careless performance of your duties. Be careful to see that the sessions of the Grand Court are not disturbed. Your station is outside the entrance door in the anteroom. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, escort the Grand Warder and Grand Sentinel to their stations.
Grand Patron, I present Honored Lady Ashley Perkins, who has been appointed Grand Page, Honored Lady Carolyn Holmquist, who has been appointed Grand Standard Bearer, and, oh, I'm sorry, wrong Holmquist, Grand Crown Bearer, and Sir Knight Arturo Cabrera, who has been appointed Grand Sword Bearer.
Honored Lady Ashley, you have been appointed Grand Page, a position of usefulness and dignity. You are expected to attend and execute the wishes of the Grand Royal Patron, however many there may be, as her personal representative. Honored Lady Carolyn and Sir Knight Arturo, you have been appointed to positions of honor and trust. It will be your duties to assist in the opening, closing, coronation ceremonies, and tableau of the Grand Court, bearing the emblems of royalty, the crown and sword when required. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, escort these officers to their station. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, present the Assistant Grand Lecturers.
I present these honored ladies and Sir Knights who have been appointed Assistant Grand Lecturers.
Sir Knight Bruce Wilkinson. Sir Knight Elmer Grossby.
Present.
Honored Lady Sheila Martinez.
Present.
Honored Lady Nancy Kell.
Present.
Honored Lady Polly Dory.
Present.
Honored Lady Kathy Smith.
Present.
Sir Knight Aaron Payne. Sir Knight Richard Marsh.
Present.
Honored Lady Rhonda Ralios.
Present.
Honored Lady Lynn Olson.
Present.
Honored ladies and Sir Knights, the office of Assistant Grand Lecturer is one of great importance. Under the direction of the Grand Lecturer, it will be your duty to see that the ritualistic work of the order is practiced in each court assigned to you. You will report to the Grand Lecturer, in writing, your assessment of the work in each court. You will make official visits when authorized to do so by the Grand Royal Meeting. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, escort these officers to seats. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, present the Grand Representatives.
Grand Rural Patron, I present these honored ladies and Sir Knights who have been appointed Grand Representatives.
Honored Lady Donna Kennard, Alabama.
Present.
Honored Lady Tricia Combs, Alaska.
Present.
Sir Knight Rod Beetham, Arkansas. Honored Lady Toby Sinclair, Arizona. Honored Lady Brenda Pedersen, British Columbia.
Present.
Honored Lady Clarence Gross, Colorado.
Present.
Sir Knight John Wilcock, Connecticut.
Present.
Honored Lady Carol Stansberry, Florida. Honored Lady Christine Woodworth, Georgia. Honored Lady Margaret Richmond, Idaho.
Present.
Honored Lady Ann Nomikas, Illinois. Honored Lady Mabel Clausen, Indiana. Honored Lady Chet Sakuro, Iowa.
Present.
Honored Lady Shirley Comstock, Kentucky. Sir Knight Brian Dozier, Louisiana.
Present.
Honored Lady Christina Wilkinson, Minnesota. Honored Lady Denise Sanford, Missouri.
Present.
Honored Lady Crystal LaPrade, New Jersey.
Present.
Sir Knight David Cantrell, New Mexico.
Present.
Honored Lady Robin Rees, New South Wales.
Present.
Honored Lady Anna Leah Grosby, New York.
Present.
Honored Lady Sue Teff, North Carolina.
Present.
Sir Knight Leland Rout, Ohio.
Present.
Sir Knight Russell Harrison, Oklahoma. Honored Lady Norma Harrison, Ontario, Canada. Honored Lady Donna Ashpaw, Oregon. Honored Lady Daisel Jo Mall, Pennsylvania.
Present.
Honored Lady Mary Ann Villanueva, Philippines.
Present.
Honored Lady Pat Mascalier, South Carolina.
Present.
Honored Lady Maybelle Carlton, Virginia, or Tennessee. Honored Lady Maria Cuenco, Virginia. Honored Lady Dolores Wright, Washington.
Present.
Honored Lady Cassie Rogers, Wisconsin.
Present.
Honored ladies and Sir Knights, you have been appointed to a position of great honor and distinction. As the direct representatives of this grand court, it shall be your duty to correspond with the grand jurisdiction to which you have been appointed. and give a report of their activities at our next Grand Court session. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, escort the Grand Representatives to their seats. Don't get comfortable. Don't get in. You good? Honored ladies and sir knights, it has fallen to your lot to be elevated to the highest positions within the gift of this Grand Court. On entering upon the responsible duties of your several offices, the members of this Grand Court expect you to devote yourself to the work allotted to you with energy and zeal. I need not remind you of the obligation you have taken, and that on you will depend much of our prosperity, harmony, and success. May you be guided in the performance of your duties by the spirit of the principles set forth in the sublime teachings of our order. In any organization, it is necessary that some shall govern and others serve. Let it be your aim to bring honor and glory to our order. Honored ladies and sir knights, let us all remember that we have a personal interest as well as a personal duty in the welfare of the Order of the Amaranth, and in proportion to our energy and zeal will be our prosperity and success. Let me exhort you in the words of the great apostle, do all things without murmuring and without disputations, that you may be without blame and without spot, and so be called the children of God. Honored Lady Grand Marshal, you will make proclamation in the West and from the throne that the officers of this Grand Court have been duly elected, appointed, and installed, except those not present.
In the name of the Grand Court, Order of the Amaranth of California, I proclaim the Grand Officers duly elected, and by authority of Sir Knight David Mesner, Grand Royal Patron, I proclaim the Grand Officers duly elected, appointed, and installed, except those not present. This from the West. name of the Grand Court, Order of the Amaranth, California, and by authority of Sir Knight David Besner, Grand Royal Patron, I proclaim the Grand Officers duly elected, appointed, and installed, except those not present. This from the throne.